She thought the strange man watching her from the parking lot was just a coincidence, until the exact same man showed up in her dorm hallway 3 states away with her full name written on a birthday card. These 3 true stalker stories from Reddit actually happened, and they'll make you check your doors twice tonight. Welcome to Scary Kaifi Tales. If you're new, subscribe and hit the bell. Let's begin. This is my stalker story, and I lived so far. My freshman year of college, man, it was a wild ride, one of the funniest times of my life, packed with those fond memories that still make me smile, but damn, it was also the scariest and weirdest year I've ever had, all because of this one twisted saga that dragged on for the whole school year. Even now, at 31, I still wonder how I didn't turn into a total shut-in nut job from it. The whole thing freaks me out to this day. I've only talked about it a couple times since it wrapped up 13 years ago. It kicked off in August 2001. Like most freshmen, I was crashing in the dorms at this big state party school. I'd skipped the fancy college I got into. Figured I needed to blow off some steam after grinding through military/college prep boarding school. Plus, after a sports injury wrecked my plans, my life goals didn't extend much past Saturday night, if you catch my drift. My old buddy from military school, Bill, ended up at the same place, a few floors below, in our dorm. So naturally, we kicked off the partying before my parents' car fumes even cleared the parking lot. First month was pure normalcy, hitting most classes, raging every night, chasing girls, good times. But mid-September, everything flipped. The dorm phone rings in the dead of night. Hello? On the line, this robotic computer voice like an old car GPS says, "Hi Gary, how are you today? Half asleep, I'm confused. Who is this?" It just repeats. I hang up, chuckling freaking Bill, nice prank, and crash out. I forget it for a few days. Don't mention it. Then a week later, same time. Hi Gary, I am watching you. Okay, cliche much? Bill, seriously, shouldn't you be knee-deep in Everclear? Or some Tri-Delt right now? Katie's gonna get pissed. Hang up. Next morning at breakfast, I call Bill out casually. No big reaction, just to avoid encouraging him. He looks genuinely baffled. Whatever. A couple days pass. I come home to multiple messages on the answering machine. It's computer voice guy, CVG, from here on. First one cuts off. Hi Gary, I'm watching you. Second, I thought I asked you to answer my calls, Gary. Third, where might Gary be on a Tuesday night? I play him for card. My roommate since junior high. We drifted post-high school, but he knew my wild side. He shrugs off the first couple, but by the third, he's spooked. I hit up other buddies' rooms. Nada. Over the next days, I grill everyone close. 0 confessions, 0 suspects. Calls ramp up over months, once a week, then every 2-3 days, daily by Christmas. Didn't tell family. Felt like a lame excuse. Weeks quiet, but back at school, first night again, I received call. How is your family in Cyprus, my hometown? Now it's personal. Threats turned dark. I'm very interested, Gary, in being close to you. I have tools I can bring. Cut open your esophagus, Gary, with a butter knife. Specific crap about my parents' address and violent plans. He mentions my high school crush, Layla, with threats. We reconnected via AIM. She has no clue. By now the dorm's buzzing people. Knock to hear messages. Got me some weird fame. Even a few dates from the Stalker guy. Intros. Don't judge. One night. Soberish. I snag a buddy Carl's truck from a hotel party, get lost on this pitch-black rural road, hit an isolated four-way stop at 3 a.m. 0 souls around. Days later, CVG describes it exactly. Spot, day, time, told no one. By March, it's all about the meetup. 10-15 calls daily. We will meet in front of Coleman Hall at midnight Wednesday the 27th of April, and we will take our friendship to the next level. April 27th, Layla's birthday. Weird, game day. Dorms hyped. 70-80 guys, talking tough. By midnight, 15-20 left. I make him stay inside. I want to confront alone, not spook him. Heart pounding. I walk 300 paces to Coleman Hall, 100 paces out. Spot movement. Guys crouched behind a bush by a pillar, under a smashed light. Dark clothes. Hoodie set for ambush. I freeze, then bolt. I see you, motherfucker. He runs around the building. I chase, crew busts out behind. Turn the corner. Running van in the lot. Brakes flicker. He leaps into the sliding door. Another guy slams it. Third at the wheel peels out. Right turn. Gone. No plate. Crew catches up, saw the leap. Stunned, silent. Adrenaline crashes. Relief. I'm not kidnapped. Dread. It's not over. Walking back. Opposite the pillar. Video camera on a stand. Pointed at the meet spot. Still recording. Cops take it, no prints. No leads. Calls stop cold. Finished college. But who was he? Disturbed stranger. Scorned acquaintance. Why me? Late nights. Unknown numbers. I double check everything. If this rings a bell, be careful. He might still be watching. Story 2. 10 years a stalker. It was the fall of 2007, and I was 15 living in New York. I was a competitive athlete in high school, the type who got up before school for workouts and trained for long hours after. With recruiting season a year away, I was under tremendous pressure to perform in my sport, as well as in the classroom. I was struggling to keep up in calculus at the time, so my mom suggested I get a tutor. She made an appointment with a teacher friend of hers, who really knew his stuff. I'd been going to him regularly, probably 3 times a week for a month, before I met Alex. Alex had the tutoring session after mine, and we'd crossed paths every week. It had never been more than a glance and a smile, as I was incredibly shy and terrified of boys. He was tall and blonde, with piercing blue eyes. So, naturally, I thought he was cute. One day, my tutor had to change his schedule and decided to book us together, as we were learning the same topics in calc. I was shocked and delighted when Alex started chatting with me afterwards and asked for my phone number. I had never had a boy pay attention to me in that way, and I was flattered that someone that cute wanted my number. Eventually, Alex and I began dating. Alex went to Catholic school in another town, but because he lived in the same town as I did, he took the bus every morning from my school to his. This gave us most mornings together, and he was able to meet my friends. I was a little taken aback when they didn't take to him like I did. They mentioned him seeming weird, and I got super defensive, but let it go. I realized that I'd been spending less time with them than I normally did, and assumed they were jealous that I had a boyfriend. As time went on, things got more serious. We started experimenting sexually, and eventually I lost my virginity to him in the back of his Ford Escape. That's when things began to change. While Alex and I always talked regularly, he started getting over the top about staying in contact with me. He would make me stay on the phone with him all hours of the night, until eventually my mom started taking my phone before I went to sleep. This relationship also started taking a toll on my athletic career. I was too tired to spend my extra time training and started skipping my practices to see him. driving 30 minutes each way to his school. Eventually, my friend sat me down and told me how unhealthy this relationship had become. I had isolated myself from them, and my entire free time was spent with him. At this point, I wanted so badly to end the relationship. I had fallen out of love with Alex, and college applications were approaching. I had been scouted by no less than 10 colleges, and my plan was to attend Brown, my dream school. Alex's obsession with our relationship had taken a huge toll on his grades, and Brown wasn't going to be an option for him. I remember when I told him that was where I was planning on going, and he freaked out, saying he would never get in there and begging me not to go. At the time, I was also recruited by the University of Illinois. Alex applied there in hopes that I would ditch Brown and go to Illinois with him. That was the final straw for me. I ended things for good with Alex, assuming that would be it. Because Alex would take the bus from my school to his every morning, I still had to see him. I remember walking into school past him and his classmates who took the bus with him, and some of his guy friends yelled slut and whore at me. Apparently, he had spread a rumor that I had cheated on him with a bunch of guys and then ended it with him. I ignored it until I started getting Facebook messages from random people at his school. I spent months getting nasty messages from guys at his school, accusing me of having STDs and telling me I was going to get gangbanged by his friends. Eventually, I had to delete my Facebook because it wouldn't stop. I think deleting my Facebook was what set off the stalker tendencies for Alex. He wasn't able to see my face online, so he started calling non-stop and sending desperate AM messages, telling me he loved me. While this was going on, I was the favorite to win the high school championship in my sport. I'd gone undefeated all season. Alex ended up showing up while I was competing for the championship, and I saw him there. It shook me so badly, I ended up losing the title. I was furious and heartbroken. I ended up picking up his call that came that night and screamed at him, telling him to never contact me again. That's when the threats began. I got a call a few nights later from Alex. After he texted me, he had something important to tell me. Stupidly, I answered. He began to tell me how he was going to kill me. He was going to show up at my house when my parents were at work with rope and a knife and make me suffer like I'd done to him. I started to cry, and he eventually went on to say he was going to get me before I went into school because he knew exactly where I parked every morning, and my parents were never going to find me. At this point, I had decided to record what was being said and had it taped on my phone. I hung up once. I felt he'd said enough. The next morning, I went into school extra early, much earlier than I figured he'd be there. I showed my advisor the recording, who then called my mom. I remember feeling a deep-rooted shame as my mom listened to the recording, like I had done something to bring this on myself. My advisor was so alarmed by the recording, he advised me to go to the police. This day still feels surreal to me. My mom and I sat in the police station all day, explaining the story of my relationship with Alex and how it got to this point. The police then drove to his high school and arrested him while he was in class. The topper on the day, though, was when I went out to bring food back to the police station for my mom and I pulled into the station at the same time as the car holding Alex did. I saw him in cuffs, and he indeed looked like he wanted to kill me. Post-arrest, I got a restraining order against Alex, and he was sent to a mental institution for a short while. He ended up breaking the aura on more than one occasion. I contacted the police, but they didn't think it was cause to do anything. I think it's important to note that Alex's family was wealthy and had a name in the area, so it wouldn't have surprised me if that's why they brushed it under the rug. I ended up attending Brown and had to inform them of the aura and let them know that Alex should not be allowed on campus. It's been over 10 years since this happened, and I still continue to receive friend requests and phone calls from him on occasion. I recently moved across the country from where this occurred. I finally feel safe now that I am far from where he lives, but anytime I get a blocked call or text from a number I don't know, a thought goes through my head that it's him. It's safe to say that this experience has completely changed who I let into my life and who I choose to date. Alex, let's not meet again. Story 3. My nighttime park stalker. At the time this happened, I was 13, so this happened 2 years ago, and I was naive. I was a major introvert, only friends with a few people in my class. I wanted to be social, but I preferred to be alone and read or write. Classic nerd things. In early November, I got a text on my phone that was from a few classmates whose phone numbers I had, and around 1 or 2 I couldn't recognize. It was a group chat asking if we wanted to hang out at night near a park at our school. My parents, being strict and paranoid, would never let me go. Luckily, or what I thought was luck, they were heading out for an overnight trip. I'd be back around 4 o'clock in the morning. Everything fell into place. Once my parents left around 8:00-ish, I ran out the door and made my way to the park. The one thing I made sure to do was lock the door. My parents were paranoid after all, and it was their biggest thing that they engraved into me. Once I arrived at the park, I noticed a creepy figure near the edge of the woods. No one else seemed to notice it, and I already had enough reputation as a weirdo who was true crime obsessed. I didn't mention it. The night drew on and on. I was having the time of my life, ignoring the gut feeling I had, telling me to run. Every so often, I would look over my shoulder, and the man would still be standing there. Around 9:45, 4 out of the 10 people there had to leave due to their curfew. It was getting cold and was nearly pitch black with a few streetlights. Every so often, the rest of us decided to go as well, since it felt more eerie and quiet. The place we were hanging out at was a field that was fenced in with a few exits and entrances, a large wide field with a small park in the back, and our giant middle school behind us. The front of the field faced the empty road, and the right and left sides were surrounded by forest. All the people left were getting picked up by cars, meaning that they went the opposite way of the road, since that's where the parking lot was. The man stood by the right forest road exit that I needed to take to get home. I walked away from my group and tried to steady my heavy breathing. I didn't want to be paranoid, but all the true crime I listened to was catching up to me. The man was probably early 40s, late 30s, dark hair with a beard. He was probably around 5'9", but at the time it seemed like 6'0". He stood about 10 feet from the exit I had to take, so when I got close enough to it, I ran for about 30 feet through the exit and through the woods. Once I felt safe enough, I started just to quickly walk through the woods, or at least get to the road. I heard a snap and a crunch from behind me. I stopped walking for a second and quickly checked over my shoulder. Around 15 feet behind me stood the very same man. He was walking slowly behind me, almost as if he was trying not to be suspicious, but it only made my fear worse. I turned around and walked so quickly, I was basically jogging. I lived about 10 minutes away from the park we had hung out at, and I wasn't athletic enough to run home. After around 7 minutes of walking fast, I was in my neighborhood. I knew that I could run to my house if I had to, so I checked to see if he was still trailing behind me. To my horror, he was only 5 feet away. I ran faster than I've ever ran. I could hear his footsteps behind me, thumping across the concrete as he ran too. I dove down an alleyway I knew well and tried to lose him in a park, making my way home longer. I could hear his heavy breath, followed by his footsteps as he tried to keep up. I cut through houses, backyards, and front yards. I finally made it to my house and flew up the steps. I looked behind me, and he had just arrived at the bottom of my stairs. I unlocked the door and burst through it, shoving it closed behind me, and I heard him hit the door with his whole body. I ran around the house and locked all the windows, turned off the lights, and hid in my bedroom with a kitchen knife, just in case he got in. He didn't, luckily. If this was a better world, that's where my story would end. But it doesn't. After a few months, I haven't really told anyone what's happened since I don't want to get in trouble with my parents for sneaking out or anything. I didn't go out with anyone or any group anymore, and my learner status returned. I began to write horror stories as a coping mechanism and never went out past 7 o'clock. It was around February when a classmate of mine was sharing a story of some random man following her home on the bus. She described him almost the exact same as the man who had chased me home. Another girl mentioned that he sounded like a guy who stood outside the school and tried to follow her home. I didn't join in, but everyone agreed that he was just a weird guy. He was kind of forgotten, and eventually I moved on too. Around May, I was getting ready to walk to school when my mom pulled me aside and showed me a picture of a man. The guy who stalked me, actually. She told me that he had been arrested 2 weeks ago for sexually assaulting a child and had escaped last night. She told me to keep an eye out for him and to call the cops if I saw him. I was shaking the whole time I walked to school. It haunts me to know that if he had caught me, I would most likely be in her position, or even dead. So, creepy nighttime stalker who liked to hunt down young girls and sexually assault. These stories aren't fiction. They happen to real people, just like you. If you've got a true horror tale that's kept you up at night, share it in the comments below. Who knows, yours might be next. If this video sent chills down your spine, smash that like button, subscribe and hit the bell for more true horror dropping every week. Next up, 3 true home invasion stories, the ones where the danger is already inside. Sleep tight if you can.